Hello, Internet. It's time to read the Bible. April 1st. So try to be silly today. Woohoo, haha. Anyway, we're going to be reading Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 1 to chapter 20, verse 20. Remember that the priests and all the other members of the Levite tribe will not be given property like the other tribes. So the priests and the Levites are to be supported by the sacrifices brought to the altar of the Lord, and by all the offerings that the people bring him. They don't need their own property, for the Lord is their property. This is what he has promised them. The shoulder, the cheeks, the stomach of every ox or sheep brought for the sacrifice must be given to the priests. In addition, the priest shall receive the harvest samples brought in thanksgiving to the Lord, the first of the grain, the new wine, the olive oil, and the fleece of the shearing time. For the Lord your God has chosen to be the tribe of Levi for all the tribes to minister to the Lord from generation to generation. And Levi, no matter where he lives in the land of Israel, has the right to come to the sanctuary at any time and to minister in the name of the Lord, just like his brothers Levites who work there regularly. He shall be given his share of the sacrifices and offerings and as his right, not just if he is in need. I feel like that's too much modulation. Hold on, we'll tone it down just a little bit. I want you to be able to understand what I'm saying, even if it is kind of a boring one. When you arrive, and it's sounding too much like Goofy. Let me see. When you arrive in the promised land, you must be very careful lest you be corrupted by the horrible customs of the nations now living there. For example, any Israeli who presents his child to be burned to death as a sacrifice to heathen gods must be killed. We don't do child sacrifices here. You got it? Good. No Israeli may practice black magic, or call on evil spirits for aid, or be the fortune teller, or be a serpent charmer, medium, or wizard, or call forth the spirits of the dead. Anyone doing these things is an object horror and a disgust to the Lord. It is because the nations do these things that you, the Lord your God, will displace them. You must walk blamelessly before the Lord your God. The nations you replace all do these evil things, but the Lord your God will not permit you to do such things. Instead, he will raise you up for you a prophet like me, an Israeli, a man to whom you must listen and to whom you must obey. For this is what your selves begged of God at Mount Horeb. There at the foot of the mountain you begged that you might not have to listen to the terrifying voice of God again, or see the awesome fire on the mountain, lest you die. There we go. We'll do a little Mad Hatter. That's better. All right, the Lord said to me, I will do as you have requested. I will raise up from among my prophets an Israeli like you. I will tell him what to say, and he will be my spokesman to the people. I will personally deal with anyone who does not listen to him. Heed his messages from me. But any prophet who falsely claims that his message is from me shall die, and any prophet who claims to give a message from other gods must die. If you wonder, how shall we know whether the prophecy is from the Lord or not? This is the way to know. If the thing he prophesies doesn't happen, it is not the Lord who has given him the message. He has made it up himself. You have nothing to fear from him. Pretty logical, isn't it? When the Lord your God has destroyed the nations you will displace, and when you are living in their cities and homes, you must set apart 3 cities of refuge so that anyone who accidentally kills someone may flee to safety. Divide the country into 3 districts, with one of these cities in each district, and keep the roads to these cities in good repair. You don't want somebody breaking their leg on their way to a sanctuary city. It might turn out bad for them. All right. Divide the. I said that already. Here is an example of the purpose of these cities. The man goes into the forest with his neighbor to chop wood, and the axe head flies off of the handle and kills the neighbor. He may flee to one of those cities and be safe. Anyone seeking to avenge the death will not be able to. These cities must be scattered so that one of them will be reasonably close to everyone. Otherwise, the angry avenger might catch and kill the innocent slayer, even though he should not have died since he had not killed deliberately. If the Lord enlarges your boundaries, and as he promised your ancestors, and gives you all the land he promised, whether he does this depends on your obedience to all of his commandments. You gotta remember that part. I am giving you today, loving the Lord your God and walking his paths. Then you must designate 3 additional cities of refuge. In this way, you will be able to avoid the deaths of innocent people, and you will not be held responsible for unjustified bloodshed. But if anyone hates his neighbor and springs out of hiding and kills him, and then flees to one of these cities of the refuge, the elders of his hometown shall send for him and shall bring him home and deliver him over to the dead man's avenger to kill him. Don't pity him. Purge all murderers from Israel. Only then will all go well with you. When you arrive in the land the Lord your God is giving you, remember that you must never steal a man's land by moving a boundary marker. Never convict anyone on the testimony of one witness. There must be at least 2. 3 is even better. If anyone gives false witness claiming he has seen someone do wrong, and he hasn't, both men shall be brought before the priests and judges on duty before the Lord at the time. They must be closely questioned, and if the witness is lying, his penalty shall be the punishment he thought the other man would get. In this way you will purge out evil among you. I wish we had that law here today. It'd be save a lot of trouble, I think. Then those who hear about it will be afraid to tell lies on the witness stand. You shall not show pity to a false witness. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. This is your rule in such cases. I like that it is a specific thing now, because a lot of times this thing is taken out of context and just done in general. And no, it is a specific thing. It's a specific case here for false testament, punishments, and such. So it's rather interesting there. Moving on. When you go to war and see before you vast numbers of horses and chariots, and armies far greater than yours, don't be frightened. The Lord your God is with you, the same God who brought you safely out of Egypt. Before you begin the battle, the priest shall stand before the Israeli army and say, Listen to me, all you men of Israel. Don't be afraid as you go out to fight today, for the Lord your God is going with you. He will fight for you against your enemies, and he will give you the victory. Then the officers of the army shall address the men in this manner. Has anyone built a new house, but not yet dedicated it? If so, go home, for you might be killed in the battle, and someone else would dedicate it. Has anyone just planted a vineyard, but not yet eaten any of its fruit? If so, go home. You might die in battle, and someone else would eat it. Has anyone just become engaged? Well, go home and get married, you silly. This would save a lot of trouble in anime and other bad writings. Uh, and now, is anyone afraid? If you are, go home before you frighten the rest of us. When the officers have finished saying this to their men, they will announce the names of the battalion leaders. As you approach the city to fight against it, the officer first offered a truce. Let me drop the list so I can say this word properly. Truce. There we go. Now we return to our usually scheduled voices. If it accepts the truce and opens its gates to you, then all its people shall become your servants. But if it refuses and won't make peace with you, you must besiege it. When the Lord your God has given it to you, kill every male in the city, but you may keep for yourselves all the women, the children, the cattle, and the booty. I do love the booty. These instructions apply only to distant cities, not those in the promised land itself. For in the cities within the boundaries of the promised land, you are to save no one, destroy every living thing, utterly destroy the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and those nasty Jebusites. Ugh. This is the commandment of the Lord your God. The purpose of this command is to prevent the people of the land from luring you into idol worship and into participation in their loathsome customs, thus sinning deeply against the Lord your God. When you besiege the city, don't destroy the fruit trees. Eat all the fruit you wish. Just don't cut down the trees. They aren't enemies who need to be slaughtered. It's just a tree, don't you know? Nah, but you may cut down trees that aren't valuable for food. Use them for the siege to make ladders, portable towers, and battering rams. Gotta smash through some things, you know. Oh, all right, that's it for the Old Testament for a moment. Now we go on to Luke, chapter 9, verses 28 through 50. 8 days later, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him into the hills to pray. And as he was praying, his face began to shine, and his clothes became dazzling white and blazed with light. Then 2 men appeared and began talking with them, Moses and Elijah. They were splendid in appearance, glorious to see, and they were speaking of his death at Jerusalem, to be carried out in accordance with God's plan. Peter and the others had been very drowsy and had fallen asleep. Now they woke up and saw Jesus covered with brightness and glory, and the 2 men standing with him. As Moses and Elijah were starting to leave, Peter, all confused and not even knowing what was going on, what he was saying, blurted out, Master, this is wonderful. We'll put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. But even as he was saying this, you see, a bright cloud formed above them, and terror gripped them as it covered them. And a voice from the cloud said, No, we won't do the silly voice for God. That's disrespectful. We'll do Morgan Freeman like I usually do. It makes sense, you know. This is my son, my chosen one. Listen to him. Then the voice died away. Jesus was there alone with his disciples. They didn't tell anyone what they had seen until long afterwards. The next day, as they descended from the hill, a huge crowd met them, and a man in the crowd called out to him, Teacher, this boy here is my only son, and a demon keeps seizing him, making him scream, and it throws him into convulsions, so that he foams at the mouth. pardon my, pardon my foam. It is always hitting him, and hardly ever leaves him alone. I begged your disciples to cast the demon out, but they couldn't. Oh, you stubborn, faithless people, Jesus said to his disciples. How long should I put up with you? Bring him here. As the boy was coming, the demon knocked him to the ground and threw him into a violent convulsion. But Jesus ordered the demon to come out and healed the boy and handed him over to his father. Awe gripped the people and saw as they saw this display of the power of God. Meanwhile, as they were exclaiming over all the wonderful things he was doing, Jesus said to his disciples, Listen to me and remember what I say. I, the Messiah, am going to be betrayed. But the disciples didn't know what he meant, for their minds had been sealed, and they were afraid to ask him. Now came an argument among them as to which of them would be the greatest in the kingdom of God. But Jesus knew their thoughts, so he stood a little child beside him and said to them, Anyone who takes care of a little child like this is caring for me, and whoever cares for me is caring for God. who sent me. You care for others is the measure of your greatness. His disciple John came to him and said, Master, we saw someone using your name to cast out demons, and we told him not to. After all, he isn't in our group. But Jesus said, You shouldn't have done that, for anyone who is not against you is for you. Don't be cliquish, you sillies. Doesn't matter if you're Baptist or Calvinist or what have you. If they're serving the Lord, they're serving the Lord, and they're your brother. Treat them like such. We might make fun of the Catholics a little bit, but they're trying. They're just what did Fresh Prince say? He's a little confused, but he's got the spirit. You know, that's what we're doing here. All right. Now, Psalms chapter 73, verses 1 through 28. How good God is to Israel, to those whose hearts are pure. But as for me, I came so close to the edge of a cliff. My feet were slipping, and I was almost gone, for I was envious of the prosperity of the proud and the wicked. Yes, all through life their road is smooth. They grow sleek and fat. I gotta stop doing that. I lose my place when I look away from the Bible. I gotta remember to put my finger here so I can find it again. They grow sleek and fat. There we are. They aren't always in trouble and plagued with problems like everyone else, though their pride sparkles like a jeweled necklace, and their clothing is woven of cruelty. These fat cats have everything their hearts could ever wish for. They scoff at the God and threaten his people. How proudly they speak! They boast against the very heavens, and their words strut through the earth. And so God's people are dismayed and confused, and they drink it all in. Does God realize what is going on? They ask. Look at these men of arrogance. They never have to lift a finger. Theirs is life of ease, and all the time their riches multiply. Sounds like a complaint you hear a lot around now, isn't it? Have I been wasting my time? Why take the trouble to be pure? All I get out of it is trouble and woe. Every day and all day long. If I had really said that, I would have been a traitor to you people. Yet it is so hard to explain it, this prosperity of those who hate the Lord. Then one day I went into God's sanctuary to meditate, and thought about the future of these evil men. What a slippery path they are on. Suddenly God will send them sliding over the edge of the cliff and down to their destruction. In an instant, into all the happiness and an eternity of terror. Their present life is only a dream. They will awaken to the truth as one awakens from a dream of things that never really were. When I saw this, that turmoil filled my heart. I saw myself so stupid and so ignorant. I must have seemed like an animal to you, O God, but even so, you loved me. I know a lot of people love their pets more than they love their people. We won't dwell on that. It's a little personal. Even so, you are holding right hand. You will keep on guiding me all my life, and with your wisdom and counsel, and afterwards receive me into your glorious heads of heaven. Whom have I in heaven but you? And I desire no one on earth as much as you. My health fails, my spirits droop, yet my God remains. He is the strength of my heart. He is mine forever. But those refusing to worship God will perish, for he destroys those serving other gods. But as for me, I get as close to him as I can. I have chosen him, and I will tell everyone about the wonderful ways he rescues me. That was a nice That was a nice song. I like that one. Now, moving on to the last verse, we have Proverbs for today, chapter 12, verse 10. A good man is concerned for the welfare of his animals, but even the kindness of godless men is cruel. I know a lot of cruel men out there who think they're being kind. I wonder if that's what he's talking about. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this session. If you enjoyed our April Fool's reading, and as always, God bless you.